Hey folks, it's the start of the year, and if you have never taken a soil test, today we're going to show you how to do it the right way. You don't need any specialty tools. You can just use the shovel, a bucket, a Ziploc bag, and a pen. So in this video, we're just going to show you how to properly collect your soil samples to send off to a lab. And if you're wondering where to send those in, the best way to do it, outside of talking to your local extension agent, is typing in your state and soil testing. You'll see labs that come up that do those services. And most of the time, the bigger universities within your state offer that as part of their agricultural studies. So the first question that we get is, how much soil do I need and how do I go about collecting it around the different locations on the farm? So because this is a new tunnel and this property in particular has gone over a lot of different stages of transformation, we're going to get very precise just within here to see what we need to do. So I'm looking for 20 to 24 samples just contained within this area. And so we're going to randomly walk around, use our soil probe to get about 6 inches worth of depth and put it into a bucket. From there, we're going to stir it up, and that gives us a good average of everything that's going on within this tunnel. So if we're outside in this field, we could basically do the same thing in that we go and get those 25, 24 samples, put it in the buck, mix it up, get the average. The other thing that we could consider, this is a mixed crop type of situation in which we could take all of the samples. This was all done about the same time as far as the trees and the building of the soil and everything, and that could be the average. So it's really up to you and how particular and how accurate you want to get. We've had other folks come in and they said, hey, you can just do the entire property and it's going to give you a good average. Keep in mind you want to do this year over year because things change. The amount of waterfall that comes down is going to change the structure of the soil and the amendments, the plants you take. Some crops are going to uptake different nutrients at different levels than others. And so because we want to do different things in the tunnel than we're going to do out here, that's why we're just going to do the tunnel today. So the tools you'll need to collect your soil samples is some type of trowel or a shovel. If your land is really compacted or you have a lot of clay, you may want to take that long handle to get you that leverage to really poke down and get you that 6 inches worth of depth. So this has just barely been churned up, so this shovel would work, but I do have a soil probe in that we can go down and pull an accurate core. We're going to put it in the bucket. You can stir it about with either one of these tools, but I like to break it up so we have this little claw. We're going to stir it about. So we're putting this video out around the first of the year, 2025. We're going to do a little bit more soil testing, so don't forget to subscribe. Leave your comments below if you have any soil testing questions. So the timing of the collection of the soil samples is a little important. You have a lot of variables and a lot of room. This is at the end of the season and the beginning of the next. And so not only do we get to take a look at the results from last year in which, hey, what was taken out, but we know what we need to put in for the crops we're planting for this particular tunnel. Now, the amount of time it takes to get back to the lab is going to vary, but figure 2 to 3, possibly even 4 weeks. And just remember, like anything else, the longer in the season that you wait, the more likely it is to take a little bit more time to get back. You also need time to get the nutrients in, to get the report read. You can take a look at earthgrower.com if you need help reading some of those analysis. That's not really something we can get into today because everybody's place is different. But again, we're learning how to take the soil samples. One thing I'm going to do to just let me know how far down I am, I'm just going to go ahead and mark 4 inches and 6 inches and kind of give myself a little range of acceptability. There's going to be a little compaction in here. So this is a 20 foot by 100 foot tunnel. I'm kind of going to work in a loose grid pattern. I'll probably do 6 to 8 samples up and down about 4 times to be able to mix in. So there's our marks for 46 inches. I do like a soil probe. They're not too expensive. You can get them pretty much anywhere, typing in soil probe in the listing. But this gives a nice window of, it cuts the soil, extracts the core. You can see how much you have going on, and you kind of can get an idea of what's happening with your soil already. In the next video, we're going to do a soil composition test using the same bucket. Like everything we're doing now, we're going to send it off to the lab, but we're also going to do a at-home soil compaction test. You also want to avoid extreme weather. So don't take a sample when the soil is too wet, frozen, or dry, as this can affect the sample consistency and lab results. Consistency and timing year over year also helps keep track of changes, as the soil composition may change between the fall and the spring. So whenever you pick to do your samples, keep that same time frame every single year. So you see here, we've divided the high tunnel into zones, and we're collecting around 20 per zone in a zigzag pattern across the area. We're also avoiding areas that don't reflect the majority of the soil, so we're staying away from low spots, extreme edges, and places likely to just be used for storage or for working. Okay, so now that we have some of these cores, I'm just going to pinch off the green matter a little bit. I don't want those to skew the results, and there wasn't a lot in there. So I'm going to take it, kind of break it apart. I'm going to use my little claw tool, and then we're going to mix this entire sample up. And some of the wetter samples you may want to just break up with your hands. You can also let this dry out for a little bit and then continue to break it up. So that's kind of what we're looking for, is a nice kind of powdery consistency. There's a little bit of clumps in there. You can break those up, but for the most part, we're now ready to bag and label this. A couple other tips to keep in mind: if you have like a tunnel that's pretty compacted, kind of like this one, you could water the day before, let it percolate down, and pull those samples out. Also, if you're going to be testing here, bagging, labeling, hey, high tunnel 1. If you're going to go to another area on the farm, go ahead and wash the bucket, the tools, and the probe really well. The chances of that skewing it are pretty low, but anything that's different, especially in a property like this that has gone so much major change in that we're clearing away trees from one year, moving to another section year over year, there's going to be vastly different soil samples here. So don't contaminate in between the different tests, wash the tools. So we're going to put our sample in a plastic bag, Ziploc bag, tie bag, whatever you have. I like to double label mine, so I'm putting South Hoop House, today's date, and the soil depth. Take a look at the recommendations for the lab that you're going to use. They may give you specific amounts, but just a couple of handfuls is all you need. And remember, this is an aggregated mix of every sample that we took in here. So at the end of the day, this was very simple, very quick. You don't need any specialty tools. You can just use the shovel, a bucket, a Ziploc bag, and a pen. Get a good clean sample, clean your tools, send them off, be a little patient, give the labs a little bit of time to work, and then you're off to a great season. So thanks for watching this one. Now on the next video, we're going to take a look at an at-home soil compaction test using the rest of the soil from this bucket, and that's going to tell us how sandy, silty, or loamy that our soil is. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.